0 calories, fat-free, excellent source of vitamin C. Now, do some of these food labeling terms actually mean what you think they mean? You might be surprised at how misleading some of these food labeling terms are, and I'm going to cover 5 of the most common ones today. You'll see why 0 grams of fat may not actually mean that, and why terms like natural may actually not be as healthy as you think they are. So stay tuned as we jump on in. And what's up guys, CW here from Consider It Health, where I consider some of the big topics in health today. And today's topic is food labeling claims. You know, those terms that you see in front of food packages that make you want to buy the food item. Well, let's get into what those terms actually really mean. So the first term we have is 0 or free. Things like fat-free, no calories, no sodium. That can actually be a little bit misleading because when a package says no calories, it can have up to 5 calories per serving. Or no sodium, it can have up to 5 milligrams per serving. Or no fat can mean it can have up to 0.5 grams per serving. So 0 can actually mean up to 5. So keep that in mind next time you snack on that food that you thought was guilt-free. And when you see the term cholesterol-free on plant-based items, it's actually a little bit redundant and perhaps a little misleading because plants never make cholesterol anyways, only animals do. And so nuts, beans, lentils, fruits, vegetables, yeah, they're always cholesterol-free. Now, number 2, we're gonna go the opposite route with the food labeling term rich in or excellent source of. Must be good, right? Look at this ice cream. Excellent source of vitamin C. So it must have what, 70–80% of your recommended daily allowance? No, maybe 50–60%, right? Actually, it only has to have 20% of your RDA or your recommended daily allowance to actually have that claim. Now imagine if that applied to grades in school. 20%, excellent score. And by the way, if a food item says a good source of, it only has to have between 10–19% of your RDA. And next we move on to the term natural. Now, natural must be good, right? But what does it actually mean for a food to be natural? Well, according to the FDA standards, it's even a little bit ambiguous. They say, although the FDA has not engaged in rulemaking to establish a formal definition for the term natural, we do have a long-standing policy concerning the use of natural in human food labeling. The FDA has considered the term natural to mean that nothing artificial or synthetic, including all color additives, regardless of source, has been included in or has been added to a food that would not normally be expected to be in that food. Yeah, that's a little confusing. So under that definition, something like Cheetos can actually be considered natural. Well, how about things like natural flavors? You see that often as well. Well, this one is interesting. For a flavor to be natural, it just means its flavors has to be extracted from a plant or an animal. And so far so good, right? But the question is, how do you actually pull a flavor compound from an apple or let's just say from beef? Well, it actually requires some processing and chemicals and enzymes to actually pull that out. And so it could actually be quite a lengthy process, and to be honest with you, artificial flavors are actually the identical compound if you look at it under a microscope. So I like how Harvard basically breaks down the distinction when it says that this distinction between the origins of flavors have no bearing on how safe, healthy, or delicious they are. In fact, flavor agents produced in a controlled laboratory setting undergo rigorous quality control at every stage and do not require a lengthy labor and resource-intensive extraction process or acquisition of naturally rare or difficult to cultivate materials, and that's talking about natural flavors. As such, many nature-identical artificial flavors are actually available in higher purity than their natural congeners and may be obtained with less damage to the environment. So here we have a case where actually, where it comes to natural or artificial, there may not be much of a difference because they are identical. And before I move on to the 4th point, if you have not yet smashed that like button and click the subscribe button, please do so, and it will help my channel out a lot. So the 4th term is organic. Now you guys may have seen my previous video on organic foods, and if not, click on it right there. But the term organic may not be as straightforward as we think. Now, unless a food is specifically labeled 100% organic, it can have the seal of organic on there as long as it has at least 95% organic ingredients. Or if a food says made with organic ingredients, all it has to have is 70% organic ingredients. So next time you buy organic, just realize that between 5 and 30% of the ingredients can actually be not organic. So the fifth term is made with. Made with real fruit, mayonnaise with olive oil, or tortillas made with spinach. Well, here's the thing though. There's no clear regulation of how much a certain food item has to contain of the advertised ingredient. So it may be a major ingredient in that food item, or it can just contain minuscule amounts. So yeah, those tortillas with spinach I mentioned earlier, it's less than 2%. So keep that in mind next time you buy certain foods that have that term made with. And I know I said at the beginning we would cover 5 of the most common terms, but I just could not help but adding one extra, which is the term no added sugars. I guess we could throw this under point number 1 because it's the term no. But anyways, no added sugars, don't get that confused with sugar-free. Big difference. No added sugars just means they have not added additional sugars in various forms, whether it be honey or brown rice syrup or glucose or fructose or many other names that sugar comes under. Now, if you didn't know that, you might pick up a smoothie like this and say, wow, no added sugars. But if you turn to the back, you might have missed the 47 grams of sugar there. So just keep that in mind. So what's the take-home story? It's this: food labeling claims can be tricky and misleading. But now that you know some of these terms, hopefully it will allow you to become a more educated consumer when you buy things at the grocery store. So one thing is just to always bypass the shiny glitter and the advertising from the front and look directly in the back and read the ingredients and then decide on how healthy the food really is. Which of the points today that I covered actually surprised you? Please leave me a comment below and I'd love to hear from you. And until the next episode, be well.